Today's sponsors, the Hideway Tidbit, are truly great friends and family. They're Marianne Franklin with Design Studio, Ellis Wood of Ellis Wood Contracting, and Greg Proctor with Excelsior Electric Membership Corporation. Many thanks to these great folk. Today we'll continue with our talk about one of my favorite things, the camellia plant. The camellia is a true aristocrat among flowers and has a presence and personality that is something to behold. I prefer the older varieties, and we're going to talk about a few more of them today. One of the best reference books on camellias is the Illustrated Encyclopedia of Camellias by Sterling McAvoy. It has over 1,000 illustrations. I bought my copy years ago at the gift shop of the American Camellia Society located at Massey Lane. The headquarters of the American Camellia Society is right here in Georgia. It's right outside the town of Fort Valley. I grew up going to Massey Lane with Daddy as he was on the board of directors. The formal camellia garden at Massey Lane began as the private garden of David C. Strother in the 1930s. He had a love affair with camellias and surrounded his farmhouse with them. In 1966, Mr. Strother donated the gardens and his 150-acre farm to the American Camellia Society. There are over 1,000 varieties of camellias there, and they also sell beautiful plants to the public. I've bought several of them. Massey Lane is also the home of the largest collection of Beam porcelain in the United States. Edward Marshall Beam was a self-taught American sculptor known for his porcelain figurines of birds. His studio began in 1950. Some of the earliest Statesboro folk to plant camellias were H.P., Hubert Paul, and Mary Beth Jones, Harry and Cora Blitch Smith, and Fred and Lucille Smith. Society member Joyce Smith Lovett, daughter of Harry Smith, said that they would travel to Fort Valley annually to buy the latest cultivar. And I've told you why they went to Fort Valley, as that was the headquarters of the American Camellia Society. There are numerous Professor Charles S. Sargent camellias in Statesboro's Triangle Park. One bush near the fountain needs to be sprayed for camellia scale. The origins are not clear, but it is thought to have come from Germany around 1920. It was imported by Berkman's Nursery in Augusta, Georgia. It was named by the Reverend John Drayton in tribute to Professor Charles Sprague Sargent, who was the director of the Arnold Arboretum at that time, which was at Harvard. It's rounded and dense and has a dark red flower. I think we all know Professor Sargent. Later camellia devotees in Statesboro included members of the Couples Night Garden Club. Prominent members were Vernon and James Bland, Hunter and Margaret Robertson, Polly and Ronald Neal, and Paul and Ann Franklin, my parents. My daddy loved to give camellias. This process encourages early and very large blooms. It's very simple. You remove the leaf bud next to the flower bud and place 1 drop of gibberellic acid there. I have a tiny bottle of gibberellic acid in the refrigerator right now. In Brooklyn, the W.W. Manns and Myrtle Cromley love camellias. Myrtle's granddaughter is Ann Clifton, a great BCHS member. Many of us remember Johnny Aldrich had several acres of camellias for sale along US 80 on the edge of Brooklyn. Ann tells that many Brooklyn camellias were purchased from Chatham Nursery, which opened in 1959 and is still located in Bloomingdale. Bill and Weta White Ingram Franklin also had beautiful camellias in their yard in Brooklyn. This is Gunsmoke. It originated in Savannah in 1959, and it was propagated by Robert C. Burgess. Kramer's Supreme is a favorite of many. It's a turkey red camellia from Kramer Brothers Nursery of California. It's a full peony form. It is a Royal Horticultural Society winner. Elegance is my very favorite camellia. It came from Mr. Alfred Chandler, a famous English nurseryman, in 1831. The flower is large to huge. Some are larger than 6 inches in diameter without giving. This plant came from a sign, SCION, that I got at my parents' home on College Boulevard. James Bland and I did the grafting. This is Giulio nucleo. It's also a favorite camellia. You can't talk about camellias in the United States since 1935 without mentioning the Italian family, the nucleos. Giulio immigrated from northern Italy and was a cobbler. He settled in the Valley in California. This is where the first citizens of Statesboro ordered their first camellias from. It was the Camellia mail order catalog headquarters. I just placed an order yesterday. So yes, they're still open, and yes, they're the main source of camellias in the United States. They currently have about 600 varieties in their comprehensive catalog. If you want one, go online, print the catalog, call them up. They'll mail you camellias and you send them a check later. They don't take credit cards. Now, you may wonder why so many of the old-time camellias have the name nucleo. Well, the reason is simple. The nucleos couldn't afford a patent. And with their name on the camellia, they got a ton of free advertising. Grand Slam is shown here. It's just fabulous. This was my mama's favorite. It's a product of the wonderful Nucleo brothers. Its bloom is huge and the color is scarlet red. It's also a Royal Horticultural Society winner. That's a mouthful, folks. Grand Prix is shown here. It's brilliant red, and it too was propagated at Nucleo Nurseries in 1948. At this time of year, it's the time to begin your 3-part fertilization of camellias. A good 10-8-8 is what we use, and make sure it has trace elements. Bill, Raymond, and Knocker counted, and we have over 60 camellia plants at the Hideway. Can I please have just a few more? Thanks for joining me on a tidbit. See you later. Bye.